All right, y'all. Good morning and welcome. Here we are on yet another edition of the ABCs of Gambling with John from ProCraps here on House Edge Live. Um, let's get right into it today. I've got the letter C in front of me here, and let's see. I want to kind of jump in, and I hope you're picking up a little bit here on kind of the theme of what we're doing, right? Which is a little bit of protection, a little bit of goodness in terms of, so give you a little bit of hope, I guess, right? But really it's more about just ways to kind of tie all the things that we all kind of collectively know into like one easy to remember format. So but why do we do it? We do it because of this, right? I think, the casinos, like I say this every day now, right? It is a kind of a battle, right? I do enjoy the games. I got a note from Greg at 555 Crab here today. He's like, I'm so glad I'm out of the gambling space, right? And I get it, right? I get it because this is true, right? The casinos are trying to bankrupt you. They really do exist to take all of your money. That's it. They don't have a stop loss or a win goal. Their win goal is everything. It's always been that way. Let's make no mistake. It's always been that way, but now it's more. It seems like it's more in your face. Like they don't even hide it anymore. Like some of the bad side bets and the poor rules and the rules getting even poorer as time goes on. There really are out to just take it all. And God forbid you get good at it. You know what I mean? You start learning how to actually arbitrage bet or top down bet or card count like we're going to talk about today. You get good at any of that stuff, they're going to be like, see, we don't want your business. You're too good for us. We don't want your action, right? They'll never take a loss. Like they don't exist in the world where losses are a thing. So our toolkit, besides the ABCs of gambling, right, are some of the bridge concepts, right? Our bankroll, our leverage, learning how to leverage our wins, how to handle loss, how to mitigate loss, right, with different betting systems. Understanding how you view risk. Are you comfortable with your risk profile and playing within it? That's a big thing. A lot of I think poor or successful gambling comes from your head, right? It's emotional. It's discipline. It's risk identification, right? It's being in touch with all that stuff, right? I think, that's why I've kind of gone away from just doing, boring strategy videos and more into this kind of stuff because I think the bigger impact on your life, on my life, is not teaching you how to press the six better. I mean, it's interesting and it's fun, but the real, I think, nuts and bolts of all this stuff boil down to what this series is all about, right? The things you can actually control, and Joe, not the dice, and I'm kidding, of course, right? But that's what I want to do. I want you to learn how to control things you can control. A lot of that is your eyes and your heart and your head. So, yeah. With that said, let me get in here and close my door. I saw that we had the back door open there. All right, so we are in the middle of the ABCs of gambling, and in front of us here we have the letter C, and this is kind of an episode more focused on clarity. Before we dive in, though, I got to ask you a question, right? I want you to be honest with yourself, and you can put it in chat. Like, how good do you think you actually are? You know what I mean? Every losing gambler thinks they're better than average. I think studies show that players consistently report being slight winners over time. I fall into that group. Over time, I am a winner. There's reasons for that. Not because I'm a great gambler. I've gotten really, really lucky a couple of times. Why are we not seeing the letter C? Hello, come back to me. Come back, letter C. There you go. Does it just go away after a minute? Is that what happens? Well, that's weird. Anyway, why am I a winner over time? I've had a couple of ginormous wins that have covered up a whole lot of little tiny losses, right? And a lot of little tiny wins along the way. Casino revenue, though, proves that most people are wrong about that, right? Someone's math isn't adding up, and the question is whether that someone is you or the casino, right? And it's not an insult, it's an invitation. Competence, clarity isn't about knowing things. It's about executing under pressure, tired, tilted, winning big. It's about being honest. Your honest self-assessment. I think the most dangerous gambler in the building is the one who thinks they have nothing to learn. So let's put it that way, right? So here's the deal. We're going to talk about clarity today. The casino's profits from confusion. We're going to talk about how games work a little bit, what free means for real. And I put free in my air quotes. You can't see that. And whether or not you're as skilled as you believe. So if you're willing to see the battlefield for what it really is and see yourself for who you are right now, maybe you walk out of here a little more dangerous than you walked in. So let's go ahead and start cutting through some of the fog here. Okay. And the letter C is going to involve some interesting things, I think, right? One, and I think one of them is I think pretty well known, right? This idea of casino design. The house is physically designed to beat you, not just games, but the design of the place itself, right? Comps are free, but aren't. Cold tables, the cold table myth we'll talk about a little bit. That's not really a thing. I want you to clear your head about that. I want to give you the permission to not fall into that trap. Okay. We'll talk about chasing losses, the behavior that lets the casino win. It's behavioral. It's you versus yourself in this case. We'll do a thing, talk about a thing called convergence theory. We'll talk about craps a little bit. I can't do a 1 minute segment on craps and get the whole game covered, but we'll talk about why craps, I think, is different than every other game out there. And we'll talk about card counting, of course. I think card counting is a real edge, but there's real obstacles to it as well. And we'll close with this notion of coloring up. So that'll be our letter C for today. And let's jump in and get right to it and talk about casino design. Okay. And you know this, right? We've all, I think, kind of been there. You've gotten lost finding the bathroom, right? But along the way, what did you run into? A couple hundred slot machines, right? And that's not an accident. It's architectural design, right? They do this. And let's get it straight, right? You're not walking into a normal building in a casino, right? It's a machine. It's a machine designed by psychologists, architects, mathematicians to extract maximum value from your visit. And things that I can tell you from experience, from inside knowledge, my insider information, right, is this. Some machines are just in your way, right? They put strategically certain machines in certain spots, not just the machine so that you bump into it, or the machines that make an aisle hard to walk down. Machines that are faced in certain directions, you'll see them as flat, as 20-degree angles, as 45, right? And different noise volumes. They're all there as a test. Everything is a test, right? They call it A/B testing. In the casino, there's ABC testing, where you'll put the same machine in 5 different spots at different angles, different volumes, and they'll see which one attracts the most people. That's where they put their high-value machines, right? That's how they decide where things go. Everything is an experiment. You are always part of a psychological experiment. Every place you step in a casino, you're on camera, but it's your pathway through, and when do you stop to play? What table game belongs next to what machine is a big thing, right? We know there are almost no straight lines. There's no straight shots in a casino. There is, in some cases, a long run getting from like the pit section into like where the restaurants are. But in general, most path has curves, branches. You got to go through bob and weave, right? You came in to play blackjack, but you're standing at a slot machine that you don't remember even getting to, right? It's not that you have a terrible sense of direction. It's the floor plan, and it's designed to bleed money. Trust me. The lighting in the casinos is, and if I told you how many millions of dollars they spend on lights, right, to make it feel like it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. That's what it's supposed to feel like, 3, 4 o'clock. It's supposed to feel like you're not hungry anymore. You're not hungry yet. You don't want to go outside. It's probably hot. It's designed to feel that way. It's energizing, the lighting level, right? The sounds are composed carefully. It's a symphony of almost wins, even losses feel like wins, don't they? On slot machines, you can put in, 10 quarters on a machine, win back 7, and the thing goes nuts. You lost 3 quarters, but it sounds like you won the 7 things. It's all designed for that, right? Everything triggers a dopamine hit. Even somebody like me who hates slot machines, I never, ever, ever play slots except for Megabucks. I'll play Megabucks. Just like I play stupid Powerball, right? It's a long shot. All of those things, though, is designed to trigger a dopamine hit, right? And it's this kind of temperature that sits this perfect zone where you're comfortable enough to stay, but alert enough to keep playing. That's the lighting, right? That's the temperature, the little bit of breeze that you sometimes feel. Notice that the casino never has stagnant air, even though there's all those people in there breathing, right? Unless you're literally in somebody's face, you can't even smell their breath. It's funny because the way that the air recycling systems work, you almost feel a breeze in that afternoon lighting. Isn't it crazy how that works? You never want to leave. There's no clocks, there's no windows, nothing to tell you when time's passing in the real world. The casino exists like in this world outside. It's like Pandora. It exists like outside of time, right? And the longer that you lose track of things, the more you'll play. And it's not evil, by the way. It's business, right? If somebody said to you, hey, in your clothing store, if you did this with your rack and put this red shirt in front, you'd sell more. Of course you would do it. And that's what they're doing. They're kind of leaning in to the psychology, but know it going in, right? It's not a building, it's a machine. And once you see the gears of this machine, they maybe not be able to turn those gears quite so easily. So think through that as you're walking through. If you're on task, stay on task. I think it's kind of a big thing for me. All right. Next up, we have comps. Okay. The free room, quote unquote free room. And you know that I work with a hosting company. So I know how a lot of this stuff works behind the scenes, but that free room costs you $800 or more in expected loss, right? You've heard the term Theo. We'll talk about that here in a minute. Your comps aren't free. Yes, you aren't paying physical cash for the room on a Thursday when you check in or when you check out on a Monday. You're not paying physical cash, but you paid for it. You paid for it, right? And the thing is, most gamblers don't have that aha moment. The free room isn't free. You just paid for it in what you didn't notice. And the math on it is pretty simple. We talked about it the other day. Casinos track your play. They calculate your your theoretical loss. And it's based on average bet, your time at the table, the house edge of the game, and how many resolutions you're getting per hour. Slot machines, by the way, 200 spins an hour on the average, right? Even at a 97% machine, 3% of average return on most decent slot machines, 200 spins an hour is a lot of damn money, right? Blackjack, right? Some houses are at 60 hands an hour. Some houses are at 80, 90 hands an hour, right? Dealers are bonused, by the way, you may not have known this, on their average hands per hour. That's how you level up from being a starter house dealer to a high limit room dealer in the same starter house to getting a strip job, right? That's how that works, right? All of that is designed to keep you there and have you have the most number of resolutions you can. Okay. They give you back, by the way, a percentage of that. So let's say your theoretical loss, whatever is $100, you're going to get back between 10 and 20% of that. So you're going to lose 100, you're going to get back $25 in freebies, quote unquote freebies, right? So your $150 free dinner means the casino calculated that you should have lost between $400 and $1,500 during your play. That's what they're figuring. That's when the dinner comes. It's all computerized now. It used to be like, remember the old days, you could like be playing and look at your boss and go, man, I'm getting hungry. He'd be like, here, go eat, come back, see you later, right? It was a gentleman's game back in the day, even though it was, not gentlemen running the place. Nowadays, it's not. It's a rebate system. It's not generous. It's a rebate system, right? And it gets dangerous when players chase comps. And the big thing on the letter C for comps to me is not that they're there, not that they cost you. It's that they're the people that chase them. Right. Think about this, flying into town, airline fare, right? Paying the Ubers and all that shit, gambling like a maniac on a 10X weekend, right? 10X weekends are great if you happen to be there, right? If you can time your vacation around it, fine. But when people are running around chasing these things, right? I need 2 more hours of play to get to, Quad Diamond or whatever the hell it is, right? Think about what you're doing to yourself. Are you going to earn back from that new status bump all the money that it took to get to the status bump? Never. You'll never earn it back, right? They should be, to me, comps a side effect, not a goal. Play your game, play your stakes, play for your planned duration. Whatever comps come are the genuine value of your time, right? The moment you modify behavior to earn comps, I think you become a product, not a customer, not a player, right? And as much as I love Brian from Holy Roller, the idea of altering my cruise play to play for the comped free cruise, I think is a little bit ludicrous to me, right? I play my way. My way of playing, just so you know, a little bit hedgy, right? I'll put some time at the blackjack table because I can win a little bit on a streak. I'll put a little bit of time in roulette to have some fun. My craps play a little bit hedgy anyway. I'll take advantage of a long run, but most of the time, I'm looking for that little bit of a long term. The way that I play, I've earned a free cruise every time by day 2, just playing my normal way of playing. And normally I walk away a winner at the table too. I'm not playing giant bets to hedge, right? The minute that I flip, and I have tried to play for the free one, alter my way of playing, not only have I lost money, but it just sucks the experience out of it. And now I'm chasing the points versus just playing the game. Comps, they really aren't free, right? They're your losses, I say, repackaged as a gift. And it's not even a good gift. It's not even a gift as good as your losses would have bought you. You'd have been better off buying yourself a coat or dinner than playing at the levels that you need to play at to get something free from the casino. All right, card counting. It's not illegal. It's not genius. And it's not what you see in the movies, right? It is math, and it really does work. And the casino does not want you doing it. And the question isn't whether you can learn it. You can. The question is whether it's worth your time to learn the skill and actually put it into practice. Okay. And I want to reiterate that it's not illegal, right? It's one of these things where I think that Colin from Blackjack Apprentice puts this the best way possible. They're giving you the information. They're showing you on the table the cards that came, right? If your brain is able to assess what it sees and make decisions based on what it saw, that's not illegal, right? What it is it borders on gaining an advantage of the casino. When you know that when you can utilize that information, and again, 99.9% of blackjack players do not utilize the information. The 0.1% that do, that are able to take that information and hammer a casino with it, that's what they don't want. Even that little 99.9% of people can lose the house edge, which is 0.25% or so in blackjack, right? The 0.1% that has an edge will kill a house, and they will not allow it. The casinos will not allow it. They will ban you from playing. Okay. It's one of the most misunderstood concepts in gambling. So let's demystify a little bit and do a little reality check. All right. So first of all, why it works. Okay. In blackjack, when the remaining deck is rich, I call it a thick deck, but the real term is thick. When the deck is rich, when the deck is thick with tens and aces, typically good things happen for you. You'll get more blackjacks, which if you're at the right table plays 3-2 instead of even money. You'll have more chances for your double down to land on a 10, right? And more critically, your dealer who must hit on 16s will bust more often, right? Knowing when there's a lot of big ass cards in the deck is huge for you, right? When the deck is full of cards, it all reverses. The dealer makes those long ass hands, right? Your blackjacks go bye-bye and the house edge moves, right? The house edge shifts, by the way, in blackjack. The house edge we report on blackjack with basic strategy is the aggregate house edge over the course of a shoe. But in shoe, the house edge will change based on what cards are in there. Based on the thickness of that shoe, the house edge shifts a little bit because of what's in there. Do the cards favor you or the house, right? So how it works is really pretty easy. It's a I can probably show you this a little bit. Let me actually pull up my browser here. Let me go to this other view really quick. Let me pull this up. Hopefully you guys can see this, right? This is the Nexus app, by the way. This is the card counting practice page of the Nexus app. And in here, we show you how to do it, right? We use the high-low system where card values, right? You add one. You start with 0. You add 1 when you have a 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. Okay? 7, 8, 9, you ignore. And the 10s and aces are -1. Okay. As the cards come out, you keep a running count. You see a 5, you add a number, you see a king, you subtract 1. Let me just set this up really quick and I'll show you what I mean. I'll show you how the counts work in real time. We'll just do like a 5-deck shoe. We'll do one hand at a time and I'll make it go fast for you. Okay. So we'll go ahead and close that up. We'll have it run automatic. Now watch out here. This app is going to have, and I'll show the counts as they happen. Okay. This will play one hand out here in the middle. That hand is going to be played essentially basic strategy. It's going to basically play like dealer style. It'll hit to a 16. And watch what it does. It'll show you the cards. It'll change the running count. Now the running count is the exact count of how many smalls and highs you've seen together. The true count is more of a measure of deck penetration, how many decks are left along with that running count. Let's start it up. Now let's let you watch it for a minute. You can see how it goes, and it's adding as it goes. You can see the running count change, how it subtracted 2 for the big cards, adds 1 for the 6, takes 2 away from the high cards, minus, minus, plus, minus, right? Neutral, minus, neutral, minus. You'll see the numbers are going to start going down. There's a right? That and this app, by the way, can have you go to, if you want to be a boss, you can go 3 hands at a time, and it'll actually throw a bunch of cards. Let me pause it and restart it here. You get 3 cards, 3 hands at a time, right? If you think you're that good and fast at counting, you can live with this app on an airplane, right? Or in your whatever, while you're having breakfast. This is the kind of thing that you can drill on, okay? The blackjack game that I'm building will have this built into it as well as you're playing, okay? There are other apps. I'm going to stop this now because it's going to be distracting. There are other games out there. Blackjack Apprentice has a great app for card counting. There's Blackjack Trainer Pro, BTA, I think it's called. Blackjack BTP, Blackjack Trainer Pro, also has a card counting module in it. Those apps are invaluable for learning how to count the cards and practice, so that when you're at a table, you're not going -1, +1. You're looking at a bunch of hands. That's why I do this thing in hands. And you can see that, when you see a 3 and a 10, you know it's 0. You don't have to go -1, +1. It's 0. You see you see the pictures that cancel things out, right? That's how card counters work. And as they come out, right, what you want to do is start thinking about adding the true count to it. So not just the count of total cards, but now you're going to divide by the number of decks that are left. And that tells you, and that starts giving you indicators, right? At certain true count levels. If true count's a +3, a +4, a +6, right? Or a minus whatever. This is now giving you betting information, right? You'll start altering your bet sizes based on the count. So when the house edge shifts into your zone, because the count or the shoe is thick with big cards, your bets go up. They call that a bet spread. And again, I encourage you to watch Blackjack Apprentice, easily the best channel out there on this subject. Great drills, great information. They have a good paid service that teaches it and drills it with you. We'll do on this channel a ton more with card counting. When I start getting the tables out there rebuilt, I'll start dealing and we'll count cards together. We'll start learning about it. But the reality of it is this: the continuous shuffle machine, which is they drop the cards in there and it shuffles for you, right? That thing has killed card counting. It killed it, right? Now there's 3 kinds of dealers, right? Or 4 kinds of ways to deal, right? There's the hand deal, single 2-deck games. There are shoe games. Both of those you can count, okay? There is the automatic shuffle, which is they still deal from a shoe. It goes into a thing and the machine shuffles for the dealer. That's fine too, right? It's when they deal 5 or 6 hands, take that little tiny stack out of the discard pile and put those back into the shuffler. The shuffler is going through 8 decks all the time. Those are or we call the CSMs, right? Those things, there's no deck, there's no count, nothing. They are specifically installed to stop this practice. And I told you, the casino exists to bankrupt you or ban you. In this case, if a casino can afford an automatic, a continuous shuffle machine, they will put it in there and they will put a stop to card counting. They will not let you have an edge. Okay. Casinos that do not have those, you'll find heat. You're not invisible, right? When you bet $10 for 20 hands in a row and then drop out 150, that raises what's going on, right? That now you get notice, right? You get backed off, banned, or they'll shuffle you to death. They'll deal 5 hands and reshuffle it. That's what happens, right? The days of walking into a casino and printing money are gone. It just is gone unless you can keep your bet spread to where it makes sense. Now, the reality of it is this: the skilled counter might have a 1% edge, maybe a 1% edge, even with a great bet spread, right? An average 10 spreading to 80 at high counts, your average bet's about a quarter. You're maybe getting 70 hands an hour, right? That's 1750, right? Minus your it's 1750 an hour. Think about that. Is that worth the heat, the being banned, all the practice times for $17 an hour at that level, right? You got to put in hundreds of hours at the table to make that make sense. Go get a job at Walmart if that's what you're going to do, right? And again, that's before variance. That's just a real thing. So anyway, I think card counting is interesting with side bets. And there's a couple of great videos out there. Again, I think Colin's done a couple of these. Side bets suck. for the most part. They're 15, 16% house edge. However, when the deck gets thick, a side bet is exploitable, right? Certain side bets are, and you can count suits as well. There are suited side bet games. You can have a card counting system that tracks suits and the count, right? So you'll know, hey, there's a bunch of, we're overstuffed with hearts and the count is high. So you know that suited queens side bet, now it's time to maybe start playing that. Nobody gives a shit about you playing an extra $1 on a side bet every so often. But that's where card counting actually can work. So we'll do a full deep dive on this at some point. But the takeaway for you is this: card counting, it works, right? It's math. It's a real edge. It's real money. The casinos kill it with the CSMs. They hunt you down, and the hourly rate you get for it may not beat the side hustle. It just may not beat it. Okay. So just know what you're getting into and keep an eye on the side bets if you would. Now, let's get also into some people's faces here, right? This idea of cold and hot tables. The table itself is not cold or hot ever. I don't give a crap what you think you see. The table does not know that you exist. The cards don't remember what happened 5 hands ago. Neither should your betting strategy. None of it matters. Okay. The most expensive lie your brain could ever tell you is that the table is cold or the table is hot. The hot table is really the bigger lie, right? You've been there. You've sat down, you lose 5 hands in a row, or a shooter has a great run, and something, or 4 or 5 people PSO in a row, and you say, God, this table's going against me. I need to move. So you color up, you go somewhere else, and you're winning. And that proves it. That table was shitty. It was cold. I changed my thing, right? It's not. The reality check is this: every single hand of blackjack, every roll of the dice, every spin of roulette, they're all independent. Now, blackjack and baccarat, to a degree, have a reliance on what happened. Card counting is what that's based on, right? Based on what's happened, the composition of the shoe is a little different, right? But the outcomes are still completely random. The roulette ball does not care that red has hit 7 times in a row. The dice don't care, especially the guys that are going to shake and toss, right? None of it matters. Your brain cares. Your brain cares. Humans are pattern recognition machines, right? We survived as a species by noticing patterns. That rustle in the grass is a predator 9 times out of 10, right? But in a casino, that superpower is a bug. It's a virus. And we see patterns only where randomness exists, because that's all that exists in a casino. Okay. When you move to a hot table and won, it wasn't because you found a hot table. It's because the variance swung back towards the mean. I was going to do it anyway. You would have won those hands at the other table eventually too. Okay. The clarity for you is this: temperature, table temperature, hot, cold table, is a feeling, not a fact, right? Facts don't care about your feelings, if you know the phrase. Moving tables does not change your EV by 1 cent. The only legitimate reason to move tables is if the environment is infecting your play. The drunk guy next to you, the cigar smoking dude that's blowing it in your face, or a smoker at your blackjack table, a dealer you can't see or don't like. Stakes get raised that you don't like the vibe of the table. That's a fine reason. If I don't like the vibe of a table, I will leave, right? Because we talked about it the other day. Sometimes the energy or the vibe of a table is going to make you make poor decisions because you're aggravated, right? Or you're in a different headspace than you should be. That's legitimate. Leave if the vibe goes bad. But just saying the table is cold itself does not beget any outcome that's coming to you. It's going to change how you react to the outcomes that you're seeing. That's the danger of hot, cold table stuff, right? So enjoy the feeling of the streaks or avoid them if you can. It's part of what makes gambling gambling. It's part of what makes it exciting. Just don't bet on them. Don't bet on that feeling, right? Cold tables do not exist. Hot tables do not exist. There's just math and variance, and that's all that there really is, right? Your brain is really trying hard to find some pattern in the chaos, and that's just it. It's 100% chaos, and I can't say that clearly enough. Now, chasing losses is a big problem. And to be clear, what I'm planning to talk through here is about chasing loss, really chasing loss, not playing negative progressions that expect or mitigate or capitalize on losses. I'm not talking about the latter guys, right? We'll talk about those later. But here, put yourself in the headspace where you're down a couple $100, right? Maybe you left down 1,200 somewhere, and somewhere, in between, you were up 1,200, you left with 200. Somewhere you stopped gambling and started chasing, and that's the moment that ruins bankrolls. Right? You buy in for a lot, you win a bunch, and you lose it all back. Right? Chasing loss is a problem. Today, I want to help you recognize, unwind, and disconnect from the emotional reactions to loss. And this, again, a lot of gambling happens here. Right? There's a moment in every bad session where something shifts. Right? Where you were gambling, then you were chasing, and most players don't notice that transition. Right? It starts really innocently. Down a couple $100, you think, if I just win a couple more hands, I'm back to even. You stay a little bit longer. Now you're down 400. And 400, by the way, feels like it's 10 miles. It's a million miles away, because the further away you go, the harder it is to get back. We talked about bet sizing yesterday. You cannot get back your $400 loss $25 at a time. So what do? You bump your bets to blacks, right? Because we all intrinsically know, if I'm betting quarters and I'm down 400, I've got to win 4, 8, 12, 16 times more than I lose to get back to $400 at the $25 level. You know, and I know it ain't possible. So what do? Chase it. Go to blacks. Okay, if I get 4 black chip wins, I'm back. Right? And now all of a sudden I'm down $600. And I'm not thinking about my strategy, not thinking about anything else. I'm now looking at a number. And the number, my break even, it's an arbitrary number. Right? But your brain is anchored to it like it's something sacred that you have to reclaim it, right? And so the real truth of it is this, right? The math doesn't care about the anchor. The house edge on the next hand, the chances of winning or losing, your probability, your odds is identical, whether you're up 500 or down 500. It does not change, right? But it's necessary for you to realize that when you chase, you're making bigger bets into the same negative expectation. It's not a recovery strategy. It's accelerating the inevitable. You're losing faster, right? This is where I think the Lambert, some of the negative progression people have it right, because they play into that with a plan. Now the plan requires extreme discipline, for sure. Okay. Now the clarity here, of course, every session is independent. Every bet is independent. The money you lost in the first hour is gone. Your job now is not to get it back. It's to make the best decisions with what you have left. And sometimes that decision might be walking away. Sometimes that decision might mean a different bet spread or a different betting pattern to kind of mitigate through it. But Dr. S is right in chat. Bankroll and discipline together can help bring some back. But again, I'm not talking here about laddering, which is a different system. Laddering is a system that kind of depends on loss to make the engine kind of grease. This is the person that's trying to just climb out of the hole with a tiny bit of money. It's tough, right? Chasing losses will never recover your money. It just doesn't. It accelerates how fast you lose it. If you catch yourself chasing, that session's over. You've already kind of given it back mentally, right? All right, here we go. Let's talk about our favorite game here on this channel, craps. Most casino games are static. You bet, you wait, you win or you lose. I always joke about this. Like when I go to play blackjack, I always joke, like I'd rather just save the heartache and just give them $1,000 and like I'll be back in 15 minutes and just tell me what I won or lost. Because I know at blackjack, I'm going to sit at first base. I'm making the same decision every single time, right? I know basic strategy like clockwork, right? I'm going to bet a 1, 3, 2, 4, right? A progressive 1, 3, 2, 4 is how I do it on the shoe. And I can't change a thing. Roulette, same thing. I'll bet my dozens, right? With my little progression. And I could literally walk up to that table and just say, here's $1,000. I'm going to go get some lunch. When I come back, give me back what I should have. If it's 800 or if it's 1200, fine. Craps is a different game. Craps is dynamic. It's the only game where you can start small, right? When a streak happens, while it's happening, you can build into the streak, right? You can build into it. Craps has got this really interesting, awesome rhythm to it. It's why we love it. It's why Craps YouTube is the best YouTube for gambling, right? All the other games are interesting, but they ain't craps, right? It's about opportunity. All games have low edges. Not all. Many games do. Baccarat 1.25, blackjack less than 1%. If all you want to do is grind out the smallest possible disadvantage, then go play blackjack. and wait for the streak and run out when the streak comes. Play it like a robot. Craps is different. It's opportunity, right? And so, with every other casino game, the bets are isolated, right? You put your money down, the event happens, you win or lose. Same odds, same situation, rinse and repeat. There's no way to read a game or lean into a game as it develops because there's nothing developing. There's no run in blackjack. It's just the next hand, right? Craps, though, has a rhythm. Shooter gets the dice, they establish the point, something's happening, something unfolds in real time. And here, you can catch a streak in a different way in craps, and you can compound your wins in a different way in craps. You can create opportunity on certain bets with the casino's money, the house money, your winnings in a different way than every other game. It just exists on a different plane of existence. It just does, right? So you can start conservative. You can start like I do, a little bit of hedge, right? And as it happens, you can lean in to what's going on. You can add a comeback. You can add a place bet. You can lean into the number that hit a couple of times. You can spread money out. It just creates opportunity different than any other game. You can walk up buying small. If a roll develops, you can build into it and you can bug out. Not a betting system. I'm not talking about hot or cold. I'm talking about leaning into what's happening, right? There's no mathematical edge, but there's something real happening when you put more money at risk, right? When the conditions are favorable. And the money you're putting at risk, generally speaking, can build off of wins, unlike other games, right? So the rhythm matters too, right? Craps is social, it's loud, it's active, it's a group think. It's way more us against the casino than even a good blackjack table. You don't get that us against the casino feeling like you do at a craps table. The energy of that table, it's unlike anything else in the casino. Sometimes roulette tables get a little crazy when one guy's winning, right? But really, craps, everybody wins when it's going good. And that vibe, that energy, I think helps you kind of keep yourself focused, right? Is the mathematics optimal? No, right? It depends on what you're optimizing for. If you want pure edge reduction, go play blackjack. Perfect strategy. That's the we should. If you're only a house edge guy, sports bet or play blackjack. That's it, right? If you want opportunity, real dynamic build as you go opportunity, craps is the game. Learn craps. I got 1,000 videos on craps. Jeremy from Color Up. You got all these guys. Jacob, the old 555 channel, right? Dice Degen. There's a million craps channels out there that have great content. Learn and lean into it, right? It's not about grinding. Craps should not be your game to grind out a low house edge, if that's what you're looking for. It's the only game where opportunity develops and you can lean in. It's just different than everything else. If I'm playing for a quick grind daily paycheck, it's probably the wrong game. It really is. I think other games are better for it, but if you want to make that big opportunistic run, the C word that I care most about is craps. All right. Let's talk really quick about convergence theory, and we have one more, and then we'll get out of here. Okay. In the short run, anything can happen. In the long run, math always wins. And the question is, are you playing long enough for the math to find you? Think about that for a minute. The most important math concept in gambling is this, right? I'll try my best to explain this without any equations, but you flip a coin 10 times, okay? You'll get 7 heads and 3 tails, arguably, right? Whatever it is, right? Way off of the 50%, right? You have a 50-50 shot of heads or tails. You flip it 10 times, you're probably never gonna, not never, but you're very rarely gonna get 5 and 5, okay? You flip it 10,000 times, right? You'll be not at 70-30 like you did when you flipped it 10. You'll be at like 49.8 tails and 50.2 heads. You're getting very close to 50-50. That's called convergence. Over time, the results move towards the mathematical expectation, okay? They'll never get to perfect 50-50 because you're going to have that variance. If you flipped the coin 10 times and it was all tails, you're off by 10. You're 100% off where you ought to be, right? Then you flip it 9,990 more times, and it's a perfect 50-50 those other times, right? Those 10 that you were off in the beginning are meaningless. They're like a rounding error, they would call it, right? You're still at basically 50-50. You never get perfect, but you'll get close to that mean. Now, apply this in a casino, right? Where the house edge on roulette is like 5 point something percent. On any given spin, you may win. In your session tonight, you might walk out ahead. Great. 10,000 spins in, the casino will be within a tiny margin of taking 5% of every single bet, right? That's the loss built into it, right? The aha moment you have is this. You and the casino are playing different games. They play that long run. They have thousands of players making millions of decisions every day, and the math always catches up to the player. The casino does not care because over time, when that convergence happens, all the weird variants that happen during the day, losing, winning, losing, whatever, at the end of the day, it all looks pretty flat to a casino because there's millions and millions of outcomes, just like that coin flip, right? So you, however, play a short game, few hundred decisions. In that window, variance is your friend and your enemy. Anything can happen in 100 runs, right? 100 coin flips. You could win 60, you could lose 60. You could win 70 or lose 70. Anything can happen, right? That wild variance in the short term is where we live on a session basis. Okay. And that's why, there's no professional negative EV gamblers. It's not a thing. No one can do it. The math will eventually catch you. Ken says this a lot on his show, right? Every strategy wins, every strategy loses because you're going to catch bad variance. It's going to happen. You're going to have a 8-step ladder system that's going to hit level 12 someday. It's just going to happen. Okay. Your edge isn't beating the math. It's understanding when to stop before the convergence catches you in a session, if you can do it, right? Short sessions, smart exits, never play long enough for the long run to get you. If you catch a great variant in the short term, you got to know it's typically not going to be positive variant, positive variant, positive variant. You're going to win a bunch, and eventually you're going to see these big swings, right? Avoid the swings, right? Short-term luck is real. Long-term math is inevitable. It just is what it is, right? So, I think winners are the ones who lead before the luck converges on them. All right, last thing is coloring up. You won. Now you got to prove it, right? If you can't put the chips in your pocket as cold, hard, higher denominations, you didn't win. Make sure that you win, okay? Here's a scene that happens all the time, right? You're up $300 in green chips. You feel great. You play a few more hands, and 20 minutes later, you're up $150. Okay, well, you're still up. 20 minutes later, you're even. You're like, well, I should have quit when I was up. Right? Have you all had that conversation with yourselves? I've done this so many freaking times. Craps table, the problem with the craps table, by the way, is that this mindset can suck you in a craps table, because how many times has the dice, they're on the other side of the table, and I can count. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys coming, and it's my time. I get to throw. And I'm up. The other time I was with Ian, actually in Seattle, I was up $500-$600, and I burned almost 400 of that waiting for the dice to come to me. I just wanted to throw one more time. I just wanted to throw once. You know what I mean? And so I instead of playing a 25-hour pass line and just letting that be the thing, just to kind of ride it out and save my money, I played it, and I walked away going, shit, I was up $500 or whatever it was. And I left up, I think I left up like $75. Like, what a dumbass, right? Should have colored up when I was ahead, right? Coloring up is more than logistics, right? It's psychological, right? When you push that pile of fives and get back the greens, something changes, right? The greens feel more real, they're more valuable. You're less likely to put a green chip out there. Also, for those of you who know, this is why the casinos don't pay you in color, right? You put out, as often as you can get those quarter-size bets on a crap, you press up into quarter-size bets, you're going to get paid in reds. If your rack is light red, you're getting paid in reds. If you're on a blackjack table, they're going to pay you in those small. They're not going to try and give you bigger chips, because bigger chips or bigger checks get bet less frequently. Even though they want you to convert from a red chip better to a green chip better, they're reluctant to give you the greens, because most people will go green chip, out of sight, out of mind, into the pocket it goes. That happens. Black chips, God forbid they give you a black chip on a $100 win. That's going right in the pocket for most people, right? So remember that, right? You're less likely to do it. That's why coloring up is done at the end of the session, right? More importantly, it's a ritual. Coloring up is a ritual. The session's over. Here's my final bankroll, and I'm out. It's a ritual that most people don't want to kind of play into, honestly, right? If you never color up, the session never ends. The chips trickle back in. Just what happens, right? The discipline is easy. When you're ready to protect the profits, stand up, color up, walk away. A short-term color up, I'll use Dr. S. His words, Out of sight, out of mind. You can color up in session by putting chips in your pocket. Hide them from yourself. Hide them from yourself. You aren't hiding them from the pit boss, right? You're hiding them from yourself. You put them in your pocket. You color up as you go, right? By dropping chips in your pants that you're not going to play anymore. When you color up, take them out, and I can get real color for them, right? This connects back to always be collecting from letter A. Collecting is a mindset. Coloring up is the act that makes it real. It's not about convenience. It's about a commitment. It turns I'm winning into I won. Okay. If you do it, if you don't do it, trust me, you're going to bleed those profits away. I'm a victim of this myself. And again, I'm not sitting here saying I'm the perfect gambler, right? I don't always practice what I preach. And sometimes you can get into a world of hurt as a result of that. All right. So that's letter C. The casino is designed to beat you. And now you see how, I think, right? Comps aren't gifts, right? You know what they cost. Cold tables don't exist. Hopefully now you won't see any ghosts. Card counting is real, but hopefully now you know what it actually takes to get it done. Craps offers opportunity. Hopefully now you understand why. Okay? And when you're up, color up, walk away, and boogie. Clarity is your edge. But remember, it starts with being honest about where you are right now. It's not weakness. It's the function of everything or the foundation rather of everything that comes next. All right. Next time we'll talk letter D, where we get into decisions that matter, discipline, and all sorts of fun stuff. So that'll be tomorrow's lessonry. Will be letter D. So there's no table time today. I have only a minute for questions. Let me just check in here on some questions. There's so many comments out here today. I'm going to kind of run through some of them. Gary, can I comment on David's blog post about casino pulling away from him teaching the bridge concepts for the app? Yeah. It's interesting. They don't want, it's funny. And I think casinos, they fall into a couple of worlds, right? Schools of thought. One is, I think, the more modern thinking casino, right? Which might say, hey, look, we know that if John is a great gambler, if John has all the bridge shit down, he comes in here, he's not going to lose his house at the table, but he's bringing his wife. She's going to play slots, right? That's what happens. They understand that. They also understand that over time, all this is bullshit. The bridge helps you not lose as much, but you're going to lose, right? The drain to a casino of 100, let's just pretend. Let's do one of these, right? Let's say we get 200,000 people to download my app, the Nexus app, and learn the bridge and learn all this stuff. 200,000 people that go to Vegas and don't lose their ass at the casino, at the tables. How many millions of others don't have the app and do go and lose like they would anyway? Play like monkeys, right? It's a numbers game. We're talking about a small group of people, right? That are into the concept of not losing. So casinos that are afraid of the bridge are short-sighted. And to me, what should that tell you? Pause for effect there. What does it tell you? Put it in chat. If a casino says, we don't like you teaching the bridge, we're not going to let you train our dealers anymore. We're going to pull out of our relationship with you because you're teaching players how to be good gamblers, right? With the bridge concepts. What does that tell you? It should tell you all you need to know, that we're onto something. What I've been teaching you for 5 years, what David's been starting to teach with the bridge, the way we're bringing it all together, it's reality. It works. Playing inside your head, not outside your head. Playing inside your emotions, not outside your emotions. All that shit works. Understanding discipline, bankroll, money management, that is kryptonite to a casino. We're talking about a sliver of humanity that's going to get the message. They shouldn't care about that sliver of humanity, but they do. So if that's the message that's out there, we don't want players learning the bridge because they're going to get too good, then guess what? Pat me on the back for teaching it. Pat yourselves on the back for sitting here every fucking day and listening to it, because it's really important. Really, really important. All right, let's see. Wow, Jen had a nice big Theo on the cruise. That's awesome. And again, higher the bets, higher the Theo, right? Just be careful. And I know you play very careful. So, yeah, let's see. Holy Roller is at $62 an hour for 2025. And I think, Brian, it was talking about this before. That's inclusive of your free cruises, right, Brian? It's not your table winnings. That's your table winnings plus your cruise, plus the food, plus all what you're getting, right? Cruising is a whole different math problem than a land-based casino, because the comp of a free cruise is worth so much more than some free piece of pizza that you're going to get at a regular casino. All right. Let's see what else is happening here. No reflection on comp players, but giving comps undue emphasis is a rookie mistake. 100% agree with that. It's never the house's money. I would say this, it's always the house's money. And I said this yesterday, if you are winning money and building a big bankroll so you can come back in and make bigger bets and kind of progress that stuff, right? You're the savings account for the casino. You're holding on to it until you give it back to them. It's always their money unless you turn it into something real. So that's important to remember. All right. Thank you for this, Holy Roller, or Tom rather. The information is always astounding, and we're only at the C's, right? We're going to have some fun stuff here. I'm glad that you're all in. So it's cool. Keep them educated. I got to get out of here, guys. I'm late for my meeting, so I got to go to work, finish up the app. Maybe we'll do a little app demo coming up here. Maybe one of these Friday follows, we'll do like a little app demo. I want you guys to see the progress. It's looking really good. So anyway, love y'all. God bless. Have a good one. Remember what I say on the way out this week, right? My last note for you is this. And again, watch the news and hear this word. Uniformity is not the same as unity. That said, happy hump day. See you tomorrow for letter D. Bye-bye.